What's the motherfucking deal, Sauce Nation? Apologize. Had a slight little technicality. Had to tweak in the background there, but I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Wednesday. Matter of fact, I hope it is Wednesday. I don't even know. But if it ain't, it is now. Goddamn. But like I say, we are the Sauce Nation. We are the Texans tubers. We are going to give you some flavor today. But if you're not familiar with Sauce Sports, man, welcome to Sauce Sports. Sauce Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. It means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. So with that being said, today we're going to talk about a little bit of a preview between the Cowboys and Texans game that will take place tomorrow. I know it won't be very many stars in there, but it will definitely be essential for understanding some of the depth that we'll have going into this season, some possible trade bait and some things like that. So, it may not be the biggest names in the game. It is still a very important game that can determine the future of this franchise. First and foremost, who we got with us tonight in the mix in the round table?
You got your boy Hector Flores in the mix.
It's Toxic Cindy Titty, baby.
Already.
You got your boy Third Coast Sports TV in the building.
Already. So like I say tonight, man, we're gonna talk a little bit about that, but we're gonna talk about some other things. There's been a lot of major splashes going on around the NFL, so we're gonna definitely address some of those things. And as well, we're gonna talk Texans and we're gonna shit on the Cowboys a little bit. And yes, we will still have a pregame show tomorrow, so don't worry about that. But we got to talk about the most important topic first and foremost before we talk about anything else. The most important thing going down in the city of Houston and Sauce Nation, that is you. So we're gonna jump into the Sauce Nation roll call. If you don't know how that works, if you are from the city or the greater Houston surrounding area, shout out your side with pride. Let us know where to send some of that love. If you're not from the city, but you're a Houston fan, you a Sauce Sports fan, or you just want to talk some motherfucking sports, you bored and you ain't got shit to do, let us know where to send a little bit of that digital love, man, and we'll send it live and direct in your direction. So let's see who we got in the mix. I know some of y'all been holding it down quite early. Make sure y'all get to flipping and pimping for your sauce, because at the end of the month, we will be picking a winner for the Sauce Sports merch. And if y'all even want to think about getting close, y'all got a lot of work to do, because our current leader is far and ahead. So, trust me, it's a risk, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see who we got in the mix this evening. I gave you power. Kenneth, I hope you did your homework and not some other broad's homework. Cologne. Miss Voodoo C, what's the motherfucking deal? Mr. Asian Pikachu, Hector Rodriguez. Gaz D Juice, what's the motherfucking deal? That sounds like a new one. I don't know. It looks like the Coon's old avatar, so I don't know if that's what it is. Kenneth, dog, quit saying that old corny ass. You still been on that Ed Oliver shit. You've been saying that shit for like the last 6 months, and that shit ain't been shaking. That shit ain't caught on yet, so give it up. It didn't catch on. It won't catch on. It's a wrap. Oh, damn, y'all was doing some super flipping. Danny G. Huku, Daniji, I don't even know, man. I'm fucking that name up. I've been trying for like 2 days in a row, but, I'm going to call you DH. You know what I'm saying? Designated hitter. DH, what's the motherfucking deal? J. Pac Warner Johnson, what's the motherfucking deal? Balin Rios, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Jack Tripper, the motherfucking pimp, Ferocious Film, Joshua Jaja, always good to see you. James Harden, Samuel Kuhn, Rising Phoenix, what's the motherfucking deal? Broderick Brooks, what's good? What's the motherfucking deal? Brian Cushing, are you still unemployed, Brian Cushing? You still looking for a job in the NFL? Heidi, Flower Plants, Flower Pants, Kleindings. If you guys want to learn how to do the floss, you know where to go. Devontae Love, what's the motherfucking deal? Make sure we get there with Josh Cooper. What's the motherfucking deal? Cool Amber, D. Will, what's the motherfucking deal? Zachariah, talking about Cowboys fans. There you go. We're going to talk some shit tonight. G-Rob, Frank Aldaco, what's the motherfucking deal? Ray Moore, Rudy Ray? Dewey Harris, what's the motherfucking deal? Always good to see you, though. Always good to see you. T. Flores, South Park representing already. You know what I'm saying? The nigga who could. Okay. Oh, okay. I get it now. The nigga who could. I ain't know what if I thought it was some old East African shit. I ain't know what you had going on with that shit. I was just like, I'm fucking it up. The nigga who could already. Took me 10 months to say it. I said it before. HK, Harlem Nights, Heidi Kleindienst. 335. What's the motherfucking deal? Houston B, good to see you. So, tonight, man, we're going to get into some stuff. We're going to get into some things. We are going to talk about a lot of important things that will have an outcome on this team around the NFL, and some current things. Ooh, good grief. I noticed what they said. And some other little breaking news. So first, shout out to Chandler holding down the Sauceline. And again, we'll have the Sauceline open for text, and then we'll open it up a little bit later. We have a special call coming for y'all in around 7:45, so make sure y'all are there for that. But we'll have the Sauceline number up for the text, and you can feel free to text the Sauceline, all stream long, but we won't be taking calls until a little bit later. So shout out to Chandler holding it down. Let me make sure I address that. And that's not that. So shout out to Honcho, Wink, Hector, and Tenny. Appreciate that love, Chandler. Balin has a question already. Says, do you see the Texans as a top 5 team in the NFL? And if so, why? We'll definitely address that in just a second. Matter of fact, we'll speak on that right now, and then we'll dive into some of the conversation. The Texans currently being a top 5 team in the NFL. As much as I want to sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to be realistic with myself. I even said yesterday that I see us being in the consideration for a Super Bowl, but I don't see us winning a Super Bowl this year. I think we got to build upon that and get a little bit more experience. A top 5 team, I have questions. I would put us maybe in that brick. I maybe put us in if we live up to our potential, possibly the top 7, top 8. I don't know if I'm going to put us in a top 5 just now. I'd have to do a little bit more looking, but I just don't feel like we're quite there. But I think we're in a position to where we can, if all things are clicking, we can make a run and we can play with anybody in this league. I do feel that. But the thing about it is, how often will everything be clicking? And health is still a bit of a concern for me. And I think there's a couple of little weak links in the secondaries not the secondary, but the cornerback position. And I think that could end up hurting us in the long run. So I think we fix those weaknesses that we may be in that conversation. So we'll start off with Hector. We'll get 10 and then we'll holler at Wink. What's your thoughts on that? Are the Texans a top 5 team in the NFL?
I don't know about a top 5 team. Maybe top 10 for sure, but I think if they are healthy and this offense is what we think is going to be, because we're also hoping that this defense becomes a top 5 defense as well, and corner seems to be still kind of a question for us, and then offensive line is still a question. So I would say top 10 could be a possibility. Top 5 could be kind of a stretch.
On if you think we're a top 5 team.
No, we're not a top 5 team. I mean, it's very hopeful to think that we would be a top 5 team, just because it comes along with our fandom, and I think it's with any team out there that feels like they're competitive. You want to think that your team's top 5, but realistically, I think I saw a ranking where we were like 11th. I mean, I think that's very generous to think that we're their 11th best team right now. I can agree if somebody wanted to throw some shade at us and say, you're bottom, you're closer to 20 than you are to the top tier of the league. That's fine. I think we got to earn any kind of respect we get this year. When it's all said and done, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Texans ranked between 12 to 5, somewhere within that spread. I think that's a possibility for them.
That's a good one. I think we lost Wink for a second. I'm sure he'll be back here in a minute. We'll get back to that. But Joshua, I got your text. We'll answer that one in just a second. I've got a couple of things I want to dive into, and then we'll answer that, because that's actually a good follow-up question. That if we're not a top 5 team, then who are the top 5? We'll definitely get into that one. But first, I kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that's been happening around the league, and then we'll get more into the conversation with the Texans and, kind of what's going to be going on with them tomorrow night, some of the moves that have been made around the league, and if the Texans probably should have participated in some of that stuff. But first and foremost, I want to talk about something that bugs me. And this is something that's been bothering me for years. We talk about how the NFL plays under this guise of player safety, and, they make these rules that make it more difficult to play defense. But what people don't realize, and it's something that I speak about, the thing that I find the most, I don't care about safety. These guys know what they're getting into. When it comes down to it, it's the money. This is why you play this. It's a little bit of the notoriety, the fame you get, yeah. But overall, it's the money. That's the reason why you take these risks. That's why you put your body in harm's way. You're willing to sustain these injuries for sometimes the rest of your life, sometimes permanently. But you have the guys out on the field, in my opinion, who are taking the most risk, which is on the defensive side of the ball. But when you leverage everything for the offense and you make it easier for them to play, you're making it easier for them also to get paid. And Aaron Rodgers just saw a very nice chunk of change fall his way from Green Bay. Now, for him to get all this money, and again, everybody talks about how great he is, and that's cool, but I think there's a lack of rings for that kind of money. And again, but you've seen guys like Kirk Cousins get paid. You've seen a lot of these other guys get paid. And I mean, you would think the first one you would ever see with that type of bread would be Brady, but of course that didn't happen. But he got a 4-year extension for $134 million, $100 million guaranteed. Basically going to see an additional $80 million in his pocket by next March. When you have defensive guys who are in consideration of being the defensive player of the year, top notch, some of the best defensive players currently in the game, they trying to get a $80 million contract, if that, hoping to get around that kind of money, and they're not seeing it. Hoping to get close to 100. Hopefully, these guys are seeing a small percentage of the checks. You see, OBJ just got I forgot how many years, but fucking $95 million extension for 5. And these guys are seeing $20 million a year easily. And you got defensive players who, again, I think are putting up more production, have been healthier in their careers and things like that. But they're not seeing, or they're seeing a much lower fraction of this. And it bothers me, man, because like I say, it's continuing to allow the NFL to favor these offenses and favor offensive players. And again, you got these guys on the defensive ball taking a hell of a lot of risk. And the rules are making it harder for them to play, and it makes it harder for them to get paid. I kind of want to know you guys and your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers getting that contract, and I just want to know your input. How do you feel like this is going to affect the future of the NFL? And, I mean, you got to look at it also, I think, at the collegiate level and the high school. If you're going to have more people wanting to play offense than defense because of the payday and how it looks, I think it's going to make the game kind of lopsided. I want to know your thoughts, Tenny, and then we'll get Hector's opinion on that one.
Man, I mean – I think it's just the nature of the beast. Defensive players, I mean, back in the day, I guess you could say it was a little easier for them to play on their side of the ball. And you looked at what the quarterbacks were doing from way back when, and they just set that precedent, and they took control of this league and really became the marquee position, which in truth, I mean, quarterback, the difference between having a good quarterback and not having a quarterback is night and day, and we know that now, especially with Deshaun Watson, and the fact that we haven't had a good quarterback in this city since our fucking induction into being a part of this league. I'm talking about the Houston Texans. I'm not talking about the Oilers. But just to point out what you were getting at too, it's a little bit fucked up because when you got shit like what J.J. Watt did, fucking he made history for being at his position. You look at a guy like right now who you're talking about, like Aaron Donald, who's at the peak of his performance, at the peak of his ability, at everyone's wanting to be a part of him, or at least somebody who should want to be a part of him. I'm talking to the Rams, of course. But they should pay somebody like that upper echelon money as much as a quarterback does, because they do affect the field almost in the same sense, because a good defensive captain, a good defensive quarterback, if you want to put quotations on that, can change the mindset of the entire game. We've seen JJ take over games. We've seen Ray Lewis take over games. Even Terrell Suggs, who's there in Baltimore, he's taken over games. You can't discount that effect that players have. And at the end of the day, I think the defensive players should be getting a little bit more love instead of just this, okay, you play defense, your cap's stuck around here, fuck off, you're not a quarterback. Because I feel like that's kind of the mentality towards them.
I agree. We'll get Hector's thought on that, and then we'll jump on Wink. And Wink, we're basically covering the fact that Aaron Rodgers got broke off and how much of an imbalance that's going to bring as far as guys playing defense and these defensive guys getting paid. But we'll get Hector's thoughts, and then we'll talk to Wink on that one. So, Hector, your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, his big payday. What does that say to guys like Aaron Donald and Aaron, and guys like Khalil Mack and how they feel about, these guys who are productive on defense and how they're getting treated when it comes to getting paid?
I mean, the thing is it's a quarterback-run league. They do all these rules to protect the quarterback. The quarterback is, like, always going to be the highest paid player. He's always looked at as the MVP. They're always looked at as the leader of the team. You know, I think the next highest position some people would say would be offensive line, even though I don't think that's I mean, I guess offensive line as a whole may be probably the second most expensive thing, but you know, people don't value other positions. And I mean, you know, I still say you don't necessarily need a great quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I mean, we've seen teams with honestly mediocre at best quarterbacks win Super Bowls. I mean, we've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win with Brad Johnson, who we never heard of ever since then. We saw Trent Dilfer, that literally being the only thing you can see on his resume is winning the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens, and it wasn't really it really wasn't because of him. So I mean, people need to. I think teams need to start seeing what the team values, and I think every team is different. And honestly, for Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is their offense, and that's why he's getting paid like that. But it does hurt other players, not like anything physically, but just the fact that no matter how great their game is, they're never going to get as paid as a quarterback does.
Sorry about that. Had a little janky little spam in there. Very interesting point you made. Somebody else made, and laughing at some of the stuff that's going on in the chat. But is part of it, and I kind of want your thoughts on this also, is part of Aaron Rodgers getting this big payday the fact that he is in Green Bay, not the history of Green Bay, but Green Bay is so fucking boring that you got to pay this man to end his career here because of there ain't shit else to do in this bitch but get paid. So your thoughts on, you know, Aaron Rodgers and the big payday that he's received from Green Bay and you know, how the rest of the league is going to react to this?
I mean, I don't think nobody really going to trip over it because it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, everybody respect Aaron Rodgers, bro. They know Aaron Rodgers trill on that field. So, I mean, the man had no business, and he does it consistently, bro. Just give him. He had some nicks and some bruises. He ain't like Brady. Like if he had Brady's longevity in terms of his time to be able to stay on the field, the way he'll break everything that Brady's done. He'll definitely be able to do. If Brady's not in the league like that, it's some teams that could stand in his way, but he'll find a way to get over a couple of humps and win some. He'll win something else. Like if he's able to play for 40 more years, I can see him winning 2 more championships now that Brady is gone. I can see it. I mean, it could happen, you know, but I see Deshaun Watson by the time his contract, I see us having a Super Bowl. If not the year before, definitely the year his contract is up. I could definitely see it. And what better year than for it to happen in year 4, which he already wear on his chest. That would be something like year 4, boom, okay, we know what it is, because it only takes 3 years to really truly what a quarterback is. And he's developing at a rate like that to win a Super Bowl. And he would be, like 2 or 3 quarterbacks who just went to the Super Bowl over the last 6 years. Russell Wilson twice, Deshaun Watson win one and put the detractors, and then we really got to talk about who's better, him or Wentz. Like that's going to be a real conversation. We'll see. And a good way to start showing that is this year, week 16. Who knows what could happen week 16? I'm kind of backing off of the guard. Like, yeah, they just finna mop us. You know, I'm ready to go ahead and change the guard. Yeah, I know we haven't beat Philadelphia in the 5 times that we played them, but they are a team that is a good team. I like the way they assemble. I like the way they coach. I like the way they're GM'd and built. Their GM is the one I wanted that I was begging for all offseason. You know what I'm saying? And we ended up getting Brian Gaine. It is what it is. People knew that was going to end up happening once his name was mentioned with the Texans. And his name was mentioned in ways like, oh, yeah, it is. And then he was here a few months prior. Like, it's a different story. But, I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
All right. Like I say, man, and I agree with some people in the chat, though, talking about $50 million guaranteed is definitely a lot. And again, you know, what's going to happen is, because Rodgers only got what, 1 Super Bowl under his belt at this point? You know what I mean? And shit. You got Russell Wilson's. You got. I mean, of course, yeah, he is that offense. He is what it is. But, I got a lot of guys that say they can look at my resume. Brady got, 5, 6 of them hoes and ain't seeing that kind of change. You know what I mean? I think to me personally, I feel like it disrupts the market. And if you do got a guy like Deshaun and he is balling out of control, I ain't mad at nobody getting no money. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always got plenty of cash to throw around. But I'm looking at it as with these defensive guys who are struggling, how much more this offsets it for them. Because, again, the league is already favoring, making it easier for offensive guys to play. And then you can't, Donald can't get paid. It's a hassle. You see Matt can't get paid. They talking about offering anybody who want to offer up 2 first rounders for him, he on the trading block because he wants to get paid. And that's simply because Gruden got a little pride issue. He feels like, I can't lose this little battle because, I just got here and I got to set a standard. Yeah, you're going to set a standard of garbage. You said you're going to get them people their money back if you don't do nothing with it. You're going to be, I hope you got that check already written. Because you just started off on a bad note, in my opinion, with Gruden. But again, like I say, but I'm hearing Donald's supposed to be getting, I think they're supposed to be having a press conference sometime next week or something like that. So hopefully he is getting paid something reasonable. But like I say, it's already a struggle for defensive guys to get paid. And then, they just throwing money at these offense players. Odell, what has Odell really truly done? Yeah, he's made some spectacular catches, but in the end all be all, what has he done that has elevated that team to the next level, him as a player alone, to be getting so much more change? You can say the same thing about Hopkins, but Hopkins has been a consistent through all the trash. You know what I mean? That dude, Odell, has been injured, has been on the field, off the field problems. Hopkins has never given you an issue. He held out for 1 day, one time. You know what I'm saying? He probably pulled a mallet, probably had to take a nap or some shit. He just called it a holdout, but he was just tired of some shit. But moving on to other news, another very interesting thing, talking about quarterbacks, and then we're going to get to talk about these Texans. Teddy Bridgewater got traded off the bus today from the Jets to the Saints. And I'm just looking at a couple of things, and I find that extremely interesting because it was only for a 3rd round pick. I'm just really curious if there was a particular reason that they put that offer up there. Maybe it was the Saints. Maybe I don't know if the Jets see the Saints this year or anything like that, or however that's going to go. But only for a 3rd rounder. That would have been, in my opinion, I've mentioned, Teddy as a backup before. I think we could have spared a 3rd if we'd have been in that conversation. But again, you don't know how GMs vibe with one another. You don't know what kind of relations. You're talking about the AFC, NFC situation. There's a lot of other little factors that come into play as opposed to what moves you make. So again, like I said, without us knowing the actual details, I can't really pick and choose at that. But Wink, your thoughts on Bridgewater getting bumped off the bus for a 3rd round pick and going to New Orleans, and how that must affect one Tom Savage down there, and did the Jets make the right move?
Tom Savage is gone. The Jets made a horrible move because shit. Oh, fuck, Tenny. You giving signals like
I was waving bye-bye. I was waving bye-bye like this.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I was like, oh, shit, no. Because normally when somebody waving in the chat or some shit, normally the mic and shit off. This shit happened to Braylon. How often? So, shit, I thought it was my situation this time. Fuck the game.
Too many to count. Too many to count.
I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I thought it was the signal. Straight up, the bad signal.
I'm done acting out in here. I'm done acting out. No more acting out.
Yeah, I got you. But man, shit. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was the situation again? Because that shit would just threw me off.
Bridgewater bumped off the bus.
Man, that was the most disrespectful shit in sports today. Like, how do you drop? First off, how do you drop a dude that's supposed to be starting for your team right now? Getting just shipped off, he don't know about it. Why are you Trent Richardson, this man? Like, what's up with these organizations? And you said this earlier when we was on Twitter, Honcho. And that's exactly how I feel. I don't hold no. This is exactly why what happened to him is exactly what the Texans essentially did to Dwayne Brown. And when he left, I didn't feel bad. I DM'd this man I sent this man on a message on fucking Instagram saying how he hit me back. You know what I'm saying? Was like, yeah, man, appreciate that shit. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even have to do that. And he reached out and did that shit. Like, that shit was live. And I feel like players that done more than enough for an organization deserves to be paid something. Like, The man was still good. Like, Dwayne Brown on this team right now would make a major difference at that left tackle position. And people, we got to be real about that. Him with this dude that we got in here with trainers, as what we can see he's doing thus far, because this is the first year, and I don't know how long we've been healthy this much going into a season. Especially, and look at the way the team is being built right now. You do not want to waste any resources when you got this type of team being built. And this is kind of why I get a little sketchy about what goes on with this team, is because we got people making this type of decisions in the organization. That's why I be like leaving. I be like, damn, why are you fucking up the years for such and such? We got contracts coming up, all kind of shit. I believe Deshaun Watson can win us a Super Bowl by time it's year 4 in his contract year, the year he about to get ready to get paid because he's going to get broke off. I really feel he's going to deliver that. I believe in him that much. He going to deliver that. If he don't get it the next 2 years, he got more than enough experiences. He got this and that. He didn't play some of the better defenses and quarterbacks. And for him to come back around, he going to be able to knock somebody off. And who's to say when that time will be? It might be I might meet you in the Super Bowl and do this. Woo, that's how it goes. We got a Super Bowl. We know who brought it to us. I'm going to thank Rick personally if I ever get to see him, because he the one who made that decision, but people going to brush that shit off. Watch. If this happened, people going to say, and this is the type of quarter, I said it on record before, this is the type of quarterback he was looking for, and he didn't even get the chance to drive the wheel properly. And that's how I feel. I feel Rick was robbed of that. He was robbed of drafting Deshaun Watson to be able to see his project out to thoroughly push him out of the gate. I feel like that. Like, if this happened, he ain't going to get no credit from when nothing happened. But he the reason he there in the first place. We all know that, though. And I think about stuff like that, and sometimes it's unfair. That's unfair. People ain't going to want to say nothing about Rick. No. Rick didn't get to see that through. Still could have made the exact same people, and we know he would have had a better draft. And this type of money, he never had that. And I feel like he was robbed of that. But I'm going to move on.
All right. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, man, because Rick had a decade and some change, man, to maneuver the money the right way. You know what I mean? Now, he finally put everything in a position in year 11 or so and had the cash. But, finally getting a chance to get Deshaun, what he put on the field last year is he should have made a move and made a play with motherfucking Brown, because he could have kept Brown around. We heard what they said on the Arian Foster podcast. You're not going to come across another tackle like that. Had he been blocking for Deshaun for the rest of the season, well, again, it was the Seattle game where he ended up getting injured and then getting swapped out. But, I mean, that's the kind of talent that could have remained on the team had he been able to, finagle a deal, especially with this money that carried over. So I think that I'll give him his dues for his picks, because, again, I think that, honestly, his last year was his best draft year, because, I mean, I felt like he hit from top to bottom almost. The only one I'm kind of questioning at this point would be Treston, because, I mean, he's just not getting the shine that, a lot of people thought that it was going to be. But outside of that, everything else looks good. Zach looks good. Picking up Cole was a great move. All these other guys that he has. So I'll give him his dues for those. But I think it took a little bit too long before him to get there. But Tenny, your thoughts on Bridgewater getting bumped off the bus, and what does that say for the rest of the league and the price he got?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the Jets really don't owe Bridgewater anything. They didn't draft him. He hadn't been a part of their organization for long. So it's a business move that sucks, because Bridgewater does deserve his time in the light. I mean, I was a fan of Bridgewater when he came out. Was upset when the Vikings moved up to get him and took him right from us, because I had the feeling that it had to be Bridgewater, because it couldn't have been Carr. We can't bring Carr into a situation like this. It had probably just been an Eli Manning trade me out of here kind of situation. But I think, honestly, that looking at the entire situation, Bridgewater got fucked over and sent down here for a fucking third-round pick, which is an absolute steal for the Saints. Absolute steal for the Saints, because Drew Brees is getting older, and who better to learn behind than somebody chill as fuck like Drew Brees? Like, seriously, you got talent at your position, and you can sit there and watch Drew Brees and watch this dude who was undersized, who wasn't believed in his first team with San Diego, shipped out to New Orleans, goes there and turns around an organization that never had a winning or a Super Bowl winning year and gave them a Super Bowl. So I mean, he's in a key position to where the Saints could be looking at a really good offense for years to come, and even if it's not even led by Sean Payton. So I mean, in hindsight, I mean, this might be a situation where Teddy Bridgewater looks back and he's giving an interview going into like an NFC Championship game, talking about, how did you feel from being bounced around and then you finally landed in the Saints? So I'm not giving up on Teddy Bridgewater yet. I think there's like a lot of other teams around that could have gave up a third to get that man out there as a starting quarterback, and they're fucking stupid as fuck. Number one, the Jags, Clarence, I hope you're hearing me. The fucking Jags could have got fucking Teddy Bridgewater for a third-round pick, and I guarantee when Bortles starts fucking up this season, you're gonna die to have that man on your team.
I could agree with that. I mean, the Jags definitely need some. Like and I've been seeing the Jags fans really seriously believing in Blake Bortles, and I don't know how a fan can really take themselves seriously and have faith in that man. Hector, I want to know your thoughts on Bridgewater getting bumped off the bus, and would that have been a worthwhile move for the Texans, to spend a third to pick him up, or do you feel like he ended up in a better position? And what does that say for Tom Savage? And is this the end of Savage's career?
For starters, the Jets wouldn't have obviously saw that they had some value with Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, they still have Josh McCown. I mean, it's still the Jets. They're probably not going to even do well this season anyway. I mean, I think doing this move makes them certain that they want to put Sam Darnold already out there on the field already. I'm pretty sure that's what they're saying, because they wouldn't have made this move unless they felt a little bit confident in Sam Darnold. And honestly, it's the Jaguars' loss, because I don't know why they keep believing in Blake Bortles. Ironically, they had a chance to draft Teddy Bridgewater, but they drafted Blake Bortles instead. So they could have actually redeemed themselves and undo what they messed up on. But no, they didn't, especially for just a third rounder. That's a steal. But the Saints are definitely looking into the future. That's pretty much what they did, because, I mean, they don't really have a backup that will, once Drew Brees hangs it up, is going to take over. And I think Teddy Bridgewater, especially with that team, I think he could definitely flourish and then learn from possibly one of the best underdog quarterbacks in Drew Brees. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's disrespectful about the Jets doing it, because just like Teddy said, they didn't draft him. So I mean, there's that. I mean, it's not as bad as that you lost your job to Sam Bradford and then to Case Keenum, and then now they didn't even believe in you so much that they ended up bringing in Kirk Cousins. So if anything, the Vikings, if there's one organization that's being disrespectful to Teddy Bridgewater, it's freaking the Minnesota Vikings.
Hey, I wanted to throw something out there just like for the chat. Like, who the fuck really says that Sam Darnold gonna light this shit up? Like, seriously.
I do.
No, we already know. We already know your bias, Hector. You bias.
I do. Sam Darnold's the GOAT.
Boop, your mic is off.
I mean, but this was a horrible situation for the Jags, bro. The Jags should have got, what they have right now. This is the type of person who can get, and they have the receivers for intermediate routes. If anything, Teddy Bridgewater would fit in perfect. He could kill you for like 15, 20 yards at a time. That should equal up to about 6 plays depending on where you are. That's more than enough. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. That's more than enough. So it's just like, the man could have been able to do him with if you would have did like read option or something like that with Fournette, like, I mean, some shit would be, they could run some triple options, some crazy shit, like, and hit you, and he could be dead accurate, and then shit, he could start upping this shit to like 30 yards. I'm pretty sure he could throw like 40, 50 yards max. Like, maybe he could throw for 50 yards on a good day. You know what I'm saying? But like 40 yards, I know he can hit that. If he can hit a 40-yarder like a couple of times in the game and capitalize when they get in the red zone, that's great production. That's what you need. That's what fucking Blake Bortles ain't giving you. Like, why the fuck do you got him there? You paid this motherfucker $54 million for 3 years. That means this is averaging what, $18 million a season, and you gave this bumburger that much money, and he's proved nothing in the National Football League when his defense and running game is the reason, and taking the ball out of his hands because it was the least amount of mistakes they did when they actually take this motherfucking ball from Bortles. That's the only way you get success on offense with the Jaguars. Before that, we all saw what the problem was. It's him. He doesn't know when to do this. He's skittish in the pocket. Yeah, he can get out of the pocket sometimes and kill you with his legs and stretch a play. He has the ability to do that, but his dumb ass more often than not is going to throw a tip pass and it's going the other direction. Why as Texas fans, you know why we so confident Jaguars fans? Is because we know the circumstances you can win in. Y'all haven't realized it's only because of fucking defense, and it's only because Leonard Fournette was there. If you didn't have Fournette, you motherfuckers wouldn't rule the other. You couldn't even beat the Titans, and we trashed them 57-14. Like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, y'all didn't see Deshaun Watson in the defense we had and when we were supposed to see y'all again. And ain't no guarantee. And Jalen Ramsey already knew what the score was. That's why he said it after the first game. Get it through your head. We are better than you. We will always be better than you, and you'll serve no problem. But you'll give us a good game, though. But a healthy team, we already know. Y'all lose to Hoyer. Man, y'all was losing. Y'all lost to the Jets.
All right, here's the deal. We're finna move on to something because I want to make sure we get to the next topic before I have this special call in. We talk about the high school action going in. And yeah, there was a mention. I saw everybody talking about Hundley going to the Seahawks for a 6. I don't think that was as big of a deal. You know, it is what it is. But oh goddamn. But that's gonna be a wrap. Yeah, Russell Wilson for to lose his gig. Oh man, you know you got love for UCLA.
Hell no.
But like I say, what I wanted to get into though is you have again, like we're talking about, you know, the Raiders. You know, you're a California guy, Hector, and the Raiders are offering up, or they're offering Khalil for 2 first-rounders. Do you see anybody honestly jumping on that and taking that offer? And what kind of impact would that have if the right team did pick him up? What team would you see making that move if they did?
You're going to give up your future on a rental. No, that's not remotely worth it. I mean, if they restructure his contract, I might consider it, but you know, like they actually give him a deal and then he trade him away, I might consider it, but I'm not about to give up my two first-round picks. That's my future right there for a guy that I don't even know is going to come back next season. So, no, I don't think if there's a team dumb enough to accept that deal, which might be the Patriots, because honestly, they throw out their first-round pick like it's nothing. So if there's a team that would actually consider it, it'd probably be the New England Patriots. And I wouldn't even call them stupid because Bill Belichick does things for weird reasons, and we think it's stupid, but then it works out for the better for him.
Your thoughts on Khalil Mack, Mr. Tenney, and you know, is somebody really going to be willing to take that offer? And like Hector said, I really would agree that they would probably be ruining their franchise for the next couple of years if they made that move.
I mean, it's a possibility. I didn't even bother to think about the fucking Patriots because they don't ever have no problem trading out of the first because usually they pick in the last 2 spots all the time. So, I mean, like a team like that could, if they really wanted to up their defense, yeah, I could see it happening. They could go for a rental like that because you know they're not going to pay him after the year. The Patriots just don't pay players. So, I mean, that would be the only thing that I say throws a wrench in that plan. I could see teams doing it. I mean, like we said the other day, if we wanted to entertain it, I mean, if we were to do something like that, that'd be like some fucking real evil ass shit to do to the league. Like, seriously, like to bring in fucking Mac on that and plan on paying him. I mean, of course, that would mean we'd walk away from Jadeveon and possibly even Tyron. But I mean, if you wanted to be like a real evil asshole and just throw your money at all 3 of those guys and trade for Mac and just dominate this fucking league on defense for like the next fucking 4 years, 7 years, however long that fuck you lock them in for, that shit would be funny as fuck. But I mean, outside of that, man, I really don't think anybody in the league is at a position where their defense is hinging just on that one player, that one position. and I don't think they'll get someone to bite. Now, it's a possibility we could see a blockbuster trade with a first or a second match with a player of, I would say, not equal talent, but possible talent that's almost matching what Mack brings to it. I could see something like that happening, but the Raiders are going to have to come off their high horse and either pay that man or trade him out for a reasonable trade.
The Browns just cut Michael Kendricks.
I wanted to speak on that, and that was kind of part of the thing that I wanted to throw in there, talking about how defensive players aren't getting paid. So he wouldn't have had to be doing no goddamn insider trading if y'all would pay the fucking defensive players. He wouldn't be trying to find additional streams of income if y'all would give these men their money. Now, I'm waiting on Broderick. He's supposed to be calling in here shortly and to give us an update. So whenever you're ready to call in, because that was figures to be there. Okay, we're going to take this call real quick. Then we're going to get Wink's thoughts on the whatchamacallit after that. All right. Broderick, what's the motherfucking deal, man?
What's the deal, South Sports Nation? What's the deal, Round Table? Shout out to everybody that's joined in tonight. And Honcho, I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk a little high school football.
Yeah, anytime. Like I say, hey, it's all sports on Houston. And, I need to get the high school update myself. So I'm glad that you could provide us with your services. I know you stay in touch and in tune with what's going on, man. So what kind of sauce? What's going on around the city, man? Who should we be looking out for? And what kind of news you got for us?
Well, let me kind of break it down for you like this. Let me just get a plug for my company here, Forza Up Football. We started something new this year, and it's basically almost like what you're doing on the South Sports deal. We are very focused on Greater Houston area high school football exclusively. I know you have companies like Dave Campbell's out there, and you got Vike Sports out there that kind of focus on Texas as a whole. But I think that what goes on in the Houston area is so special. And I've been firmly intertwined in it for so many years, and I just want everybody to appreciate it like I do as well. So I just want to let you all know about Forza Up Football. So look out for us. We're going to be focusing on Greater Houston area high school football and everything that goes into the preparations for these Friday night events, which I think are great events. And let me also give a shout out to the Friendswood Mustangs who won our summer's Twitter poll. We had a Twitter poll out this summer called the Forza Up Uniswag poll, and basically what that is we kind of went sideways with something that you don't normally see in high school football. Man, I don't know if any of you guys have seen what's going on lately with these uniforms that these teams are wearing, but we have some teams out here in the Houston area that really throw some money into their style and their fashion. So this summer what we did was we hand-selected 16 teams out there in the Houston area. We did a fan poll. We had a lot of fans and a lot of players and coaches as well involved. And the Friendswood Mustangs came out on top of that thing, man. And we will be delivering the Friendswood Mustangs an award belt on their homecoming night, just to show that they had the Uniswag going on this summer. And I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, man. It's just one of the minor things that goes into what is the Friday night experience here in Houston. But let me kind of segue into something else. What we kind of do with Forza Up Football is we want to break the city down, or the Greater Houston area down. We break that into 8 regions, okay? And since the Houston area is so big, and we all know that we all pretty much break the Houston area down into north and south, southwest, northwest, whatever the case may be. But when we're considering the Greater Houston area, we have to consider these districts and how they lay out. So we have 8 different regions: central, north, northwest, west, southwest, south and coastal, east and northeast. I won't go into who's all in those regions, but you can find out a little bit more on our Twitter, and we'll talk about this on our podcast. It's going to be every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. But before I go into the games this week, I also want to give a shout out to the guys over there at Texan Live. Man, if you guys don't know anything about Texan Live, and if you're into football, high school football at all, what these guys do is they go out every week and they film these games and they put them up on their website. And, I mean, it's just a wonderful broadcast. They do a wonderful job over there. Most of the time they have up to 20 games broadcasted per week. Now, that's a lot of work. They get all over the Houston area, and they broadcast all of these games. And the good thing is Thursday night games and the Saturday night games, you can watch those live. But there's a rule here in Texas with the UIL that the Friday night contest cannot be broadcasted live until playoff time. So those broadcasts for Friday nights, they're on a 1-hour tape delay. So I'll kind of give you a couple of highlights on those later on. But let me get into the games of the week. What we have going on this Thursday night, and I won't get into a lot of different players and all of that. We'll kind of let you guys get a little bit of that on the podcast every week. But I just want to kind of get into some of these games that you all ought to be looking at. First of all, on Thursday night, the best game of the week, one of the best games of the week, and this one is going to be broadcast on 57 The Q's. We're going to see Clear Lake taking on Manville. And anybody that knows anything about Manville, man, Manville is one of those teams that are kind of unique. And when they came into varsity football, they kind of came out there swinging. And that's something that we normally don't see with teams that are fairly new. They're only about 10 years old, and they've been a powerhouse for the majority of the time that they've been playing varsity football. They'll be taking on Clear Lake at 7 o'clock this Thursday night. Check that out on Channel 57. We also have Klein Collins, a big powerhouse over there in the Spring area. They're going to come down to the SWAT and take on A-Leaf Taylor. We got Westfield taking on HISD Lamar. Wild Trip, Rams and Wild Trip, they're going to be taking on some babies. And what I mean by babies is one of these teams that we never heard of. They're new to varsity. This will be their first varsity contest. The babies at Bridgeland, Cy-Fair. This might be a good beatdown, but, I mean, it's Wild Trip, so, hey, it could go anyway. Now, we also have on Thursday night, Cy Ranch taking on Cinco Ranch. That's one game that's becoming a quick rivalry. Those teams have been linking up for the last few years here. Now, moving on into Friday Night Lights. The game of the week is North Shore coming over to Katy and taking on those Tigers. It's a lot I could say about this game, but we all know the history of North Shore. We all know the history of Katy. This game will be fantastic, but to be honest with you, I cannot call who's going to win this game. I call this a coin flipper. North Shore is going to be bringing back some experience and a lot of talent, and they're going to be facing a pretty young Katy team. So this one could go either way. Another real big game we got going on this Friday night is Dobie taking on Santa Fe. And, of course, we all know what happened with Santa Fe last year. They'll be taking on the Dobie Longhorns, and they'll be doing so without two of their teammates who were tragically murdered in the school shootings that happened just before school ended last year. So I know a lot of people that have their eyes on that one. I'm sure it'll be a very emotional game for those guys. Another one to keep your eyes on is Dickinson versus George Ranch. And George Ranch is another one of those teams out there in the kind of the Fort Bend area. And they have kind of come on and taken this thing by storm. They've already won a state championship. I think they're about 6 years old over there as far as how long they've been playing varsity football. They're a powerhouse, perennial playoff team, taking on those Dickinson Gators, who are a playoff team as well. And really, here's another sleeper that I want you guys to look at if you're really interested. Fort Bend Foster is going to go take on College Station. Now, both of these were playoff teams from last year. They're both very highly rated in the state. And Foster is going to be taking on these guys. I don't think that they're going to come away with a victory because College Station is loaded, but we'll keep our eyes on that one. And of course, we always have the Woodlands. They're a powerhouse. They're going to be taking on the champs over there at Cy-Fair at the Barrett Center. Then we have one of the biggest rivalries of the week, and I don't know if you guys know much about this one, but this is one of the biggest rivalries, not only in the Houston area, but in the state of Texas. We have Lamar taking on the Ball High Tours in the annual Clash of the Causeway. Keep your eyes open for Langham Creek at Klein Oak. That's going to be a good one. And Crosby is going to be taking on New Caney out there at the new Texan Drive Stadium. Now, for the beatdown of the week, we have 4 candidates for the beatdown of the week. And when I say beatdown of the week, this is basically those games that are pretty much lopsided matchups. We got Clear Creek. They're going to take on Sterling this week. Pearland is going to take on South Springs. Stafford is going to take on another baby in Peyto. And Morton Ranch is going to take on Salt Lakes. Now, I know I'm just throwing some names out there, and many of you did not fully abreast of what's going on. Let me just say this. One of these 4 games, Pearland and South Springs, I think South Springs may go home crying with the tail between their legs because Pearland is probably going to put up 80 on these guys that night. Keep your eyes open for that. And on Saturday, if there's nothing else to do, go check out Washington. They're going to be taking on Worthing. I know a lot of you HISD guys like that rivalry right there. But the biggest, ballsiest game of the week is going to be Clear Springs. They're taking on Converse Judson from the San Antonio area. One thing I got to say is it's really hard for these powerhouse teams to find good matchups in the beginning of the season during what's called pre-district. When you have a powerhouse team like, let's say, your Cadies, your North Shores, your Klein Collins, your Converse Judson, Pearland, it's really hard for these guys to find good, decent games in the first 2 or 3 weeks because they're such powerhouses, nobody really wants to play them. So I give a lot of credit to Clear Springs, which they are a great team, a good team, looking for greatness, but they're going to do some they're taking on a really big challenge going up there to Converse Judson to take on those Rockets. And the last point I want to make is I don't know if you guys have paid attention to it, but ESPN last week they did a high school football kickoff classic, and they had some pretty good games from most notable teams from around the country. Names like Bishop Gorman, Hoover out of Alabama, Mayor D, St. Thomas Aquinas. They did a really good job. I think it was about 7 games they did this past weekend. And I mean, it was a really good ball, but the best game of the weekend was when Indianapolis Warren Central took on Trinity from Kentucky. I mean, it really looked like this was going to be a blowout because it was 21-0 in the first half. Warren was down to Kentucky Trinity. But then these guys stuck to their ground game. And I really want you guys to remember this name. I said I wasn't going to talk a whole lot about names, but remember this name. Warren Central's Romere Elliott. He's 5'7", 189-pound running back. This guy ran for 197 yards all in the second half, and these guys came away with the victory after being down 21-0. They walked out of there with a 42-41 win. And this is what high school football is about, man. It's fast-paced action. It's exciting. Sometimes you go to a good stadium and it got good concessions. I mean, that's really big for me because I got this big belly over here, so I like to make sure that I check out everybody's food, and I'm going to give them all the grade on that as well. But where else would you rather be on a Friday night for $10? You know, it's very expensive to go to college football games and NFL games. So I just encourage you all to get out and support your neighborhood teams and get out there and enjoy it, man, because it's a whole lot of fun. It's fast-paced action. These guys aren't getting any money, but they're playing with heart. And, I mean, it's a sight to see. So I'll keep you guys in tune on the podcast and everything. And Honcho, if you don't mind, I'll come on Wednesdays and kind of give you a quick little breakdown of what's going on that following week.
All right. That's a BET, man. Hey, Broderick, I appreciate you. You know, keeping me updated because I've been out the loop on everything going on in the school. Man, shout out to Broderick. Shout out to Fours Up. Make sure y'all check that out. Make sure y'all follow on Twitter and show some love. All right, what you got, Wayne?
Already.
Ask him how is Yates this year. I want to know how they doing.
Shit, I think
he hung up.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Hey, but Roger,
Broderick,
if you back in the chat, I see somebody trying Yates taking on going to Dallas Carter, something like that. I think I saw something.
Man,
bro,
I'll tell you
lying,
when he mentioned that Battle of the Causeway, man, I was just bum bum bum. Dun, 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 do, 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 do.
But man,
he used to go hard, man.
But that's one thing you got to think
when
about,
I went
man.
To Lamar, baby,
that was the last of the pure football, man. When you back in high school, you know, college used to be pure a little bit, but then it's gotten too political. Coaches started making too much fucking money. You know, all this other bullshit started going on. ESPN got too involved, and everybody eating but the players. High school, and even though ESPN started to get their hands into that shit too, which was really pissed me off. But high school was the last of the pure. That's when motherfuckers was playing because they were looking to get to that next level, playing for pride, playing for really representing their school. You know what I'm saying? Having that bragging rights, being able to talk shit. High school football, man.
We can't talk enough, Honcho, because we speak of it, bro. They'll never understand what it was like to play at the Dome, bro.
Man.
You do not know, bro. And we ain't even just talking about the Dome, bro. Go to Battle of the Bands at the Astrodome. Bro, do you remember, bro? If you wasn't there, bro, and you missed the Battle of the Bands and shit like that at the Astrodome, oh my God, bro!
Yates will be middle of the pack once again this season. Wink, that's what he was saying.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that shit used to be so fun watching them like 03, 04, like 05, like in them years, bro. I mean, I don't know how they, you know, because I've been away for so long. I graduated like 04. So that was like, my brother was still playing and he graduated in 07. So I watched them all the way until that point. You know what I'm saying? So like, it had been a while. I know they had set it up like a couple of years ago, but shit, I don't know what had happened. So I was just trying to see how they were doing.
Yeah, man. Like when I was in high school, 03, dude, they called that defense the Black Death, man. They did the whole year, all the way up to the state game. They never allowed anybody to score 30 points on them. And they always won the game 30 points or more.
I have a couple folks I remember from out of the ball way. Hold on, we got a call coming in. We're going to take the call from Senior Ken. What's the motherfucking deal? Ken, what kind of sauce you want to splash on the line tonight?
Man, I just wanted to say a couple of things because I know we just got a long phone call, so I don't want to hold the Sauce Nation too long. But number one, fuck Taylor High School. You know, you got to put that out there. And it's kind of a two-part question. The first part of it is, what are some prospects that y'all think we should be looking at for the upcoming draft, specifically offensive tackles and, you know, corners, which is what we need. And the second part of my question is, it's for you on the roundtable. What do y'all make of, you know, of the comments that Odell Beckham had? Because, you know I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, just because he's getting paid, you know, $20 million a year, that he shouldn't, you know, be allowed to, you know what I'm saying, live the normal life that, you know, every other human being is. Just because, you know, he's making this amount of money, he should be happy and shit like that, you know. Because, you know, people around the street are asking him, you know, dance and shit like that. I find that very disrespectful, but people are justifying it because he got money. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what I wanted to say, man. I appreciate you for, you know, letting me call in.
All right. Kenneth, I hope you ain't been carrying no backpacks or nothing. It's school today. I hope you've been holding it down.
Man, cut it out, dog.
Taking your I know you've been on your anti-simp lately. Don't fall back into them old habits. I'm just telling you. Hey, just hit them with the stiff arm. Hit them with the Heisman, man. Stay strong. Stay true. Don't simp. I got faith in you. Appreciate you calling in, Kenneth, holding it down, man.
As far as the Odell question goes, like, man, like, I think it was like what Freddie Prinze Jr. like a long time ago says, you know where people are, you know where the paparazzi is. He goes, you got the choice of avoiding it. I think Odell is just stuck in a situation where he's got to learn to remove himself from his social media and remove himself from where his picture is going to be taken and where large crowds are going to be.
It's just being homebody, man. Just chill. Just take care of your business, man. Show people, showcase your talent and have fun. That's all it should be about. You showcasing your talent, have fun, do what you can to be great on the field. That's all people really want to care about as football fans. We got players that we can say that's like that. You know, we got JJ. We got Andre Johnson first and foremost. We got JJ Watt. You know, that was on that level. I love Arian Foster. For me, he definitely up there. Love Dwayne Brown in his time here. You know, I like guys like Wade Smith. You know, we got Davian Clowney. We're going to have Zach Cunningham, Reader. We got a lot of guys that we can just end up liking. Like, this team is, like, well assembled, man. It's just like the bones, if they stay together, man, this team can do so much with having the same kind of chemistry this year. This is why teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Ravens was winning for so long, because they kept their nucleus together and always added the right pieces. A team, I couldn't imagine, bro, could you imagine if Ozzie Newsome was GM of this team with the type of drafts and the type of just shit, especially with the way shit is going on now and the way that the team is trending up? Like, he would get us a mean ass O-lineman. You know what I'm saying? Like, a situation would be a whole lot different if he had that type of money and draft picks at the spots that we had. I think he could have did something real interesting. But
you know, I'm starting to buy into what Colin from the Herd Show was always talking about. Because if you got a young quarterback that's is good, that can start, then you need to go out and spend your money before it's time to have to pay him.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world, but you know, some people just don't really give it that type of thought.
He had a good point. He was talking about, looking at some future prospects, and I want to enjoy the season first. Let's see what direction we trending in first before we start doing too much. Because who knows? I mean, look, who knows? Rankin could fuck around and pan. I'm not putting my money on it, but he ain't look like complete shit. He better than Lamb. He could pan out. Let's see what these guys have before we start worrying too far ahead. I think we put a little bit too much on your plate when you do that. But the thing with Odell, and how people are kind of treating him kind of funny, but it comes down to this. It's not even about the money. It's about how you carry yourself. Because he puts himself out there like that on social media, always dancing, doing the goofy stuff, doing the suspect stuff, getting beat up by kickers' nets. He portrays himself, or prior to, has kind of portrayed himself as a clown-like figure. Yeah, he can ball. But it's almost like he's a entertainer more so than a football player, because he's always doing some other shit. It's like, and I'm not saying he has a shit ton off the field. It's not like he's getting arrested. He had the little cocaine situation with the chick. I don't think he was doing the powder, honestly. But I'm gonna say he was doing the powder because fuck him. It just make it look DeAndre Hopkins look that much better. So fuck him. But he portrays himself a little clownish. And I think that's why people will treat him that way, no matter what the money is. They feel like, people feel like, because we were talking about that briefly, like he was talking about on Twitter, how, the fans get mad at these players and expect them to have undying loyalty. But at the same time, the fans feel like they own these players too. Our team paid you a lot of money. Hey, you didn't pay that money. Yeah, my tickets, them tickets might have been a couple of $100. You know what I'm saying? At the most, a rack or two, depending on what game you went to, or your season tickets or whatever it is, that ain't covering a fraction of that man game check. You know what I mean? And so that's what kills me, is just people feel like they own these guys because they watch them, or people feel like because, I've built this. It's a one-sided thing, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, you can sit there and watch, say, like Hopkins or Watson, and all this stuff from his high school career to his collegiate career to his professional career, and you can know all this stuff about this man, but you run up on the street, hey, Watson, yeah, in your mind, all this stuff. He's like, who the fuck are you? He doesn't know you from the next fan doing the same shit and the next fan, and so that's the problem. Like, people have to learn how to differentiate their side of the issue, their side of this one-sided relationship, or whatever you want to call it, affair, however you want to deal with it. And realize kind of the place that you're in. It's millions of motherfuckers who are reaching out to these people all the time. You may be aware just like everybody else may, but that don't mean that they owe you anything. Like, it kills me when people say, oh, well, this person or that actor, he should have signed this, such and such. What it's, man, you don't know what that man got going on. Just because motherfuckers got money don't mean that they happy. It's a lot of other issues. People have family problems. People have a whole lot of fucking shit going on in their lives, but people just feel like because they know some shit about you, or they count in your pocketbook or whatever, that you owe them something, For never look, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. So people got to get over that. Now, I'll let y'all address your thoughts on that. Hector, if you got a comment on that, I know you've been kind of left out over there. I know you was working on some stuff. And then we're going to actually talk about what to look for in this Dallas and Houston, Texas game coming up, and just kind of some of the names that are on the brink, and you know what to expect to see tomorrow. So Hector, you have any thoughts on the last call, talking more so about Odell and him getting paid, some of the comments that were made around him, or if you have anything to say about the high school stuff? I know you were saying Sharpstown wasn't holding it down, but yeah, your thoughts.
I think people need to stop trying to care about what the things the players do. I mean, it's their lives. Honestly, you can say whatever you want about the guy, but honestly, the guy probably doesn't even look at your tweets if you even tweet at him or anything like that. So who cares? It's his life. Let him live it.
One more question, Hector. Would you dye your hair similar to Odell Beckham?
No, but I know the Houston Rockets, like the staff, they were like trying to dye their hair blonde during the playoffs, and they wanted me to do it. But luckily, like since I'm growing my hair out so I can donate it, I can't do it. So I kind of got lucked out on that one.
Legitimate out. All right, so let's take a look at tomorrow. And again, a lot of big names are going to be there. No, it's not going to be the battle of Texas. It ain't. What was the last big battle in Texas? Alamo or some shit? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. It's not going to be all that. It's not going to be Dak versus Watson, not until later on this year. But what we are going to get is we're going to see a lot of key depth pieces for both of these teams. We don't give a shit about the Cowboys. I'm going to be honest. I think it's a big drop-off at Cowboys at quarterback. And we have a similar drop-off too, but I don't think it's as big of a drop-off in our situation. Whedon can actually win games with us. That tells you enough about Dallas. Yeah, exactly. But the Cowboys have a couple of a notable name, one that I noticed. I didn't get a chance to look over the roster and their whole depth chart. But one, Dres Anderson, who was in the Texans uniform around practice time preseason last year. I know who was son of, was it Flip Anderson? And so that's very interesting to see what happens with him if he ends up making a team, because Dallas is it is. Cole Beasley's the best thing they got shaking. That definitely lets you know what's going on in Jerry's world. But I want to know who y'all think is going to be an interesting, or who we should be looking at. Shout out to Jay Dizzle. Oh yeah, and Jay Dizzle had a good comment talking about what y'all know about them old Lincoln and TJ games. I had a couple of partners that used to play in Port Arthur, you know what I'm saying? So they definitely hit me. I saw the highlights, and I definitely was familiar. And shout out to Chandler. He says the best high school is Permian Odessa Panthers of Friday Night Lights. And look, man, fuck Odessa, goddamn it. But shout out to Chandler. We fuck with Chandler, but fuck Odessa. But like I say, we'll start with Hector. We'll work our way to the right, man. Who are the on the bubble type guys? Who are the guys who haven't seen a lot of action in the preseason? I know like QT may be a guy who's to see some action, not necessarily on the bubble, but who are you thinking is going to have a solid game tomorrow night to kind of solidify their role on this team to hold it down?
Pope. I think Tremaine Pope's going to have to show. I mean, he's had a pretty good preseason, but I think he definitely has to show out on this game, and to have the Texans feel comfortable going in with him, especially if Tyler Urban's not going to make this team. So I think that they have to at least feel comfortable that we have Tremaine Pope that can do what we kind of hoped Tyler Urban was going to do, and then also to have a guy that we know is going to be able to go in there as a special teamer.
It's definitely something that they've been harping on quite a bit. Tenny, your thoughts? Who is the most important, or who is going to have some shine tomorrow night to solidify their position on this team?
I think it comes down to the cornerbacks. I think it comes down to being a knife fight. Like, whoever really wants it the most is going to get it. Because, let's be honest, there's not a lot of positions left on that secondary as far as solidified positions. So, I mean, to round them off and say, hey, you can stay around or you can come in, it's going to come down to whoever they're testing out there. Now, a lot of it's going to be like game film situations for these guys to take forward and go on their own And trust me, if Spencer Tillman does not call in, you're going to hear a whole lot of coach is going to call you into the office and he's going to hand you an apple and a roadmap and say, good luck, son. So, I mean, we're going to hear that all night tomorrow. And fucking the one thing that I would say is probably look at outside linebacker. I think they could use one more guy at that spot. Probably look at Peter Colombaye and David Bellamy. See if they can shine at all to try to earn a spot on here or at least solidify a practice squad position. Look at the secondary. I think we're all very curious about the one guy. We can't say his name, but it's like Shattery or Shatira, CH, whatever.
Shatira. Saskatchewan.
Tony Satcheries. That's his name now. His name is Tony Satcheries till I get it right. But Tony Satcheries, I'm interested to see if he can snag one last position on here, at least get on the practice squad and fill in for a hurt person whenever they go down this year. Injury is part of the game, so a lot of these guys are going to be those, 911 just in case moments. So hopefully they can put a lot of good film out there for themselves. But cornerback and outside linebacker is where I'm going to be watching.
Wink, your thoughts, man. Who is a crucial name who's on the brink of this team that must shine tomorrow if they want to be a part of this Texan squad?
I mean, I think he's pretty much solidified because Tyler Irvin ain't making the team. And the only person I even really want to mention is Tremaine Pope. Like, I'm not really that much impressed with a lot of the guys coming after the starters. That's really all I care about. I mean, I haven't seen anything from these dead players that made me excited whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying they can't develop a little later, but due to how bad they are with the way that the team is built, we can't deserve to be hindered if anybody major goes out again. We need depth, and that's what I'm afraid of, and this is why I'm so hard when I analyze this team. People can't realize, like, if somebody goes down, who the fuck do you really trust to come in and make the right plays? And this is why I don't like the way that it's dip. When we keep talking about it, like, these are the real true concerns I have. If we lose a player in such and such position, do you know what type of position we gonna be in? Like, do you know how vulnerable we gonna be in certain spots? Like, it's just like, that's why I've been harping on the depth. That's why I'm glad that guys like Duke is panning out. Okay, at least if a pass rusher go down, at least we know we can insert Duke. And I ain't even need to mention him because he made the team when he was drafted. We didn't even have to hit this man. And I already knew he was gonna pan out once we watched the shit. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he could. I said he was gonna be Whitney Merciless months ago, and now you got people saying that shit on Twitter. I'm like, bro, I said that shit months ago. Before anybody even saw it on the field, I was saying that months ago.
All right. Definitely. That's a couple of names that I'm going to look at because you're talking about depth. And I feel like the place where we have the most depth defensively, maybe on that line, because we got a couple of names that I know that they like that may end up being cuts. I know that Heath and Blackson are two names that they like a lot. But again, not sure how many they're going to keep on that line. If they're going to keep, 6, 7, 8, it just depends. And I think that might be pushing it a little bit. Blackson had I want to say that first preseason game, he looked pretty good. He's looked more consistent, but I think he's looked pretty decent. But then the other guy who was looking all right, they end up cutting and shipping off, which is Hardison, and he ended up getting picked up by the Rams, I believe. They picked him up with the quickness, so that wasn't even an issue. I think tomorrow we can also look forward to seeing a name that everybody's been talking about a lot. I know you said corners in the Webster guy, so I think he should get a little bit of shine and should get a chance to see what he's working with, see what that Achilles is looking like tomorrow. On the depth chart, though, again, like they have him at the back of the depth chart. They got Batamosi and Virgin ahead of him. I think we should get a look at Drummond tomorrow. I don't expect Reed to play too much. I think guys that are basically on this team, they'll be focused on the Patriots. And that's the wise thing to do, especially some of these younger guys like Justin Reed and stuff like that. He don't need to be worried about shit happening in Dallas. They need to be sure everybody who they know is solidified, their mind should have been on the Patriots at the beginning of this week because there's no point in worrying about Dallas. We'll get to see what Bryce and Shashery look like, Tony Sacheries, you know what I'm saying, on the other side. And then and then you got we'll get a better. I think we should see a little action from Scarlett tomorrow. I don't think he's just a a solidified guy because, like I say, Ejiofor may be pressuring him a little bit. And Kamalu's a guy that they've liked a lot, and is a big body guy. As far as at the backers position, Josh Kyes, I think should be getting some significant playing time. I hope that he can do something. He's shown some flashes. He's shown some potential, and that hit still was probably the best hit of the preseason in my opinion because he smashed the shit out of old buddy. I think we'll probably get I don't know how much Watkins we'll see tomorrow. But it's another competition. It's one I want to talk about because not necessarily a competition, but a couple of players I want to talk about because we saw, some of these trades that have been going around. We've seen a couple of little swaps. And it's two guys in particular, depending on how many receivers that the Texans carry. And I think they're going to carry enough that I feel like he's going to be on this roster. But if not, if there is a decent offer, because, again, Bridgewater went for a third. If there was a decent offer, and what would that offer be, in your opinion? We'll start with Wink and work our way back left. An offer for Braxton Miller, what would it take for you to be willing to trade him? And also the young punter that everybody's had he's been very, very well spoken of, saying that he's pressuring Shane Lechler. And I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up keeping him and letting Lechler go. Again, Lechler's getting up in age. You can have you a punter for the future and not have to worry about that in the next couple of years. Just get that off your plate because, again, he's killing them with the coffin corners and everything like that. Trevor Daniel, because I'm sure there's another team out there somewhere that could use a solid punter. So I kind of want to know your thoughts on those two guys. What would it take for you or what would you be willing to take for a guy like Braxton Miller, and what would you be trying to fetch for a guy like Trevor Daniel, if possible?
I mean, the greatest thing that could happen is if we was to get like a third-round pick. That would be excellent if that could be pulled off. That would be excellent, but realistically speaking, if a team had a couple of fourths and they had like a late round fourth, that would still be very decent. The very least you could go is like a fifth round pick. Fifth round picks can be valued. You know what I'm saying? You can get a good player in the fifth round. A lot of players that went from the fifth round on back to be great players. I mean, Tom Brady was one of them. That's a couple of other players. Richard Sherman, Antonio Brown. Like, two of them were 6th round picks, one was a 5th round pick. You know what I'm saying? So shit can pan out sometimes, but I don't know, man. It's Trevor Daniels needs to stay. I said, like, when I seen the way that man was kicking them down punts, when I saw that, I was like, man, look, if we had this man, Shane Lechler, I haven't really given it any thought because I haven't even really truly, really put it in its proper perspective that, hey, maybe we could lose Lechler because we just signed him. So I never really gave it no thought, but I thought about it the other day. I didn't want to come out loud and say it. Like, I didn't want to mention it really, but it was just like, it kind of crossed my mind. I was like, hey, he could. And say what if somebody say like somebody kind of took the right angle, looked like they was gonna break loose. I honestly feel like he'll knock the shit out of you. I honestly feel like if he hits you, bro, like on the punt and he gets you clean, I honestly feel like Trevor Daniel lay your ass out. He'll catch you from the side. I honestly believe, and he looked like he got some athleticism. Like, he looked like he could take a right angle, like he done this before. You know what I'm saying? And later.
My fault. He's the only punter I've ever actually heard of participating in the drills during the draft. Like, he went out there, he put up I want to say like 19, 20 reps on the bench or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Which was more than nobody who was at the lineman for the Ravens. So shit. And he went out there. I think he ran like a 540, like a 5.0 something like that. But I mean, he went out there and did the little drills and everything like that. Because usually special teamers, specialists, they don't do none of that shit. But he said he wanted to go out there and prove himself that he had a little something to work with. He's a solidly built guy, so I mean, shit, maybe you can use him in that aspect. So that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, I really do, because Shane Lechler, I was watching Shane Lechler even try to attempt to tackle somebody. The way he stretches his body, like, he be looking so weak. Like, I be like, bro, you can't. You just don't have it. You know what I'm saying? It's not really your lane to do that, and you can't expect it. And it's kind of the similar situation with Marquette King. Like, look at what this man was able to do with Oakland. He put them in a solid position. If they had consistent offense, they could do wonders. If they had a defense and if they had a legitimate offense that the league can be scared of. Nobody's scared. If we had they line situation in Houston, bro, could you imagine the possibilities of what Deshaun Watson and the time he's gonna be able to get done and how he'll be able to extend plays with a line like that? Come on, the sky is limitless if he has that type of talent. You know what I'm saying? And they would consider like a top 2, top 3 line like a couple of years ago. A lot of people were saying that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, if people can take that to heart, imagine if our quarterback had some shit like that. Because that's the only thing they got, honestly, that I feel that we could need.
Okay. Tina, your thoughts, man? Well, first I would say, Miller, Trevor Daniel, what would you entertain trade for those guys? And actually just, some of the guys that are at the lower end of the depth chart, that you could try to get some value for. Who would you, if there another player that you would see that you would try to make a move for outside of Braxton Miller or Trevor Daniel?
Outside of those two, I can't really say anything. I think people would bluff you down, like stare you down and be like, all right, you got to make this cut. So, I'll just catch him whenever you cut him. But I would say Braxton Miller, I'd get aggressive with it. I'd probably pair him with one of our third-round picks and try to go out there and catch a cornerback. So, somebody like we said the other day, somebody who's a number 2 on a squad or a number 3 that's super fucking solid, and we can bring him in here and pair him up with J-Joe. So, that would be something that I would probably try to aggressively chase. If somebody was putting that on the hook out there, I'd chase after it. Like, honestly, like we talk about how timid the Texans always are, and we get frustrated with it. That's a move that's not going to be a timid move. And if we got aggressive and really went out and got somebody that can contribute. As far as the punter, I'd show up to Shane Leckler's fucking double wide, give him a fucking $10,000 gift card to Cabela's, a $20,000 gift card to Gander, or was it Gander Mountain or whatever, and say, here you go, bud, man, it's been nice. We'll pay out the rest of your contract. You go fish as much as you want. You go hunt as much as you want. You go find another team if you want to, but we got to do what's best for this organization.
I'm going to say that, man, on a Gander Mountain shopping spree. Ain't that a bit?
Hey, man, at least I took care of him. I know his hobbies. Like, come on, bro. If you like to go out there wade fishing, you do fish till your heart is content.
You go punt all the motherfucking fish you want to. You ain't even got to throw them back. Catch them bitches, punt them back, goddamn. Hector, man, your thoughts on, what would you take if somebody made an offer for a guy like Braxton Miller and, possibly trying to finesse Trevor Daniel, who's looking like a very solid NFL punter? What try to ask is, would you try to recoup, or is there another person that you see personally that's kind of on the lower end of the spectrum that you would offer up for trade to another team if you could get something decent back? And what would you offer for them?
Any of the guys that we're looking at cutting is probably not even, just like Tinny said, most of them are going to be like, either you take what I offer, or we'll just wait till you cut them and we'll take them. So, there's not many players on this roster that I could just say that we could probably make a trade for. And Braxton Miller is going to be one of those guys that we actually have to put a package to get. So we have to be the ones going for another player. And kind of going with what Tinny said, a corner would be the only thing I would be wanting to be pursuing. So, but you're going to have to package Braxton Miller with something, a 3rd round pick or a 4th round. It's just, there's no way of just giving away Braxton Miller for something. Is not going to happen. Trevor Daniel, honestly, I said it before that I wouldn't be shocked if Trevor Daniel ends up taking the job. He's younger, plus he's cheaper. So if he provides a similar product from what Shane Leckler does, it's a no-brainer to just let Shane Leckler go. I guess, you didn't mention Bass Pro Shop, Tenny, so I guess I'll throw that one in there.
right or some shit. Oh,
he's gonna go on the Ring of Honor. He's going on the Ring of Honor.
Severance pay has got to be good, and I mean, he ain't never made no waves down here. Give him good severance pay.
Man, it don't matter if Leckler was to get cut though. Somebody would pick his ass up in an instant if he still wants to continue to play football. I don't think it'd be an issue. I think with him it's just shit. He back in Texas. He cooling. He really ain't tripping too much about it. You know, he right around the corner. So I think if he would have let him go, it might be a wrap for him.
Mark my words. Mark my words.
Yeah, he needs to retire, and he's staying in Houston because you know he still fuck with JJ. There's still plenty of people on the team. I mean, he from Texas anyway. He like, okay, if they cut me, I ain't tripping. They'll probably pay my cheap ass contract off anyway. Well, I mean, what is it? How is his contract like? What, $1 million? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, he get the veteran minimum. As long as he's in the league, he'll never get like another. You know, and that's basically all we gave him.
That's going to be a wrap for him. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just keeps signing them little extensions, getting a couple of extra million. You said you had to mark my words there, Hector. What were you?
Mark my words. We're going to retire his jersey. We're going to put him in the Ring of Honor. He's going to be sitting there. He's going to be sitting there next to Andre Johnson, being the second guy to be put on the Ring of Honor in the Houston Texans.
When you really think about from a special team standpoint, he would be.
We've got a couple of texts on the
as
Sauce
far as
line,
a special teams player, he would be.
We got this is an interesting one. All right, says someone had a gun to your head. You had to make a trade for Khalil Mack. Who and what would you give up for him just to make it more interesting? JJ is off the table. We'll start with Hector and work our way right. What would you gun to your head? So you got to make the move. Who and or what are you giving up if you are in the shoes of Brian Gaine for one Khalil Mack?
I'd rather get shot. Just shoot me. I'm making that stupid trade.
Not even gonna deal with the problem. Like, fuck it.
I'm not trading for a rental. Like, if you trade for a rental, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't think that makes any sense.
Okay. All right, Teddy, your thoughts? Or are you gonna be laying in the grave next to Hector?
I'm all about self-preservation. So Hector, you riding and dying on that one on your own. And I'll make that trade in a heartbeat. I'll give him the 2 first rounds. I'll go get my son's little plastic Thanos gauntlet, and I'll announce that shit right there. Fucking with the evil ass smile on my face, looking at everybody, be like, "Yeah, we got Khalil Mack, we got Jadeveon Clowney, we got JJ Watt, we got Whitney Merciless." And then let's not talk about the interior guys. Oh, let's talk about the interior guys. We got Christian Covington, we got fucking Joe Heath, we got fucking DJ Reader, we got Sammy Watkins, or not Sammy Watkins. I'm sorry, we got Carlos Watkins. And to back them up, we also have Cunningham, and just run down the list to be like, who's going to run against us? Zeke who? Fucking Saquon Barkley who? Who the fuck is that? Who's going to get through that line? Nobody.
Definitely be deadly. Wink, gun to your head. You got to make a trade for Khalil. No JJ allowed. What's the deal?
Shit. Man, a first rounder. Well, no. This is what I'll do. Them 2 second rounders. I give away them 2 second rounders. And Kevin Johnson. And no, I wouldn't even do Kevin Johnson. For that, I throw in Lamar Miller, sweet and pot. They can use Lamar Miller.
All right, I'll throw in a trade. I'll probably get shot. Regardless, but I'll throw the trade in. I'll give you a $20,000 gift card to Bass Pro Shop and Shane Leckler, and I'll give you a whole thing of Frito pie, and I'll give you that. Give you the little John Gruden and Shane Leckler reunion. So that way he makes another dumb mistake and go for Shane Leckler again.
I'm not gonna lie, Hector. That would if that's the only other team I can see him going to. He finished where he started at. Like, boom, they drafted me. They believed in me. I mean, he been playing for the Texans for the last 5 years, so he been here through some shit now. But when you really think about it, like, Shane Leckler been here a long time. He came here with Ed Reed, now lasted him. Like, Shane Leckler was still very deadly when we got him. Like, Shane Leckler has not been the problem. I could say he had like an off year the year Brock was here, that was probably like his worst year as a Texan. Outside of that
motherfucker was kicking like 20 times a game.
You had to be in there every single time.
Boy, leg was hurting after the game. All that shit fucking was.
Yeah.
Shit, if it wasn't for him,
I mean, and honestly, take that into consideration. And it's not like it was a precipitous drop off. He was still good in the game, but like when he was bad, you saw it. It showed up.
Okay. I see. Brother say you give up a 2020 first and a third, a 2019 third for Mack, or 2020 first and a third, and a 2019 third for Mack. Hey, look, they better take whatever they can get because they gonna be because they talking about them motherfuckers talking about they want 2 firsts for them. Shit, I don't even want to pay today. Who gonna come off them 2? Yeah. But my thing is if you think he that valuable, then why not pay the motherfucking man? Goddamn, like that's the thing that kills me. It's like, come on, y'all think he worth 2 firsts and shit. Break out the check and pay the motherfucker, dog.
Actually, if the Raiders even like approached me if I wanted Khalil Mack, my response would be, can he play corner?
You know what?
Because that's what we need.
Really though. Really.
We don't need. I mean, we don't need a pass rusher. We need a corner.
Yeah. You right, Hector. But like, this is so fucked up. Like, how does a dude get $10 million a year for 10 years straight to be a mediocre quarterback? He got all this at his disposal, and he ain't gonna do it because it ain't built up enough. This ain't the type of team he can win.
Who's this?
This is fucking John Gruden. Like, how in the fuck is John Gruden paid to? And when he just get back in the game, like. We're not going to talk about the fact that all of this is at your win. He had good draft picks. He could have drafted good for you this year. You could have had a bunch of, y'all got RD, he trills. But outside of that, you could have done way more to add to that team, and you dropped the ball.
Wink. What the problem is that he got that fucking free Corona card, and he's still drunk. He ain't come down off that shit to wake up to see what the fuck he's doing.
Well, here's the thing: the reason why they had to pay him so much is, for one, ESPN was using him heavily because not only was he was announcing the Monday night games, but he was also doing that that quarterback camp that he had for like before the NFL draft, and then not only that, but then he has that dumb contract they had with Corona and Hooters. So I mean, and then Bridgestone Tires where he gives the tire a pep talk. So I mean, like the guy's got like all this money coming into him, so you had to like give him money so he wouldn't be the Peyton Manning of coaching.
I don't see that at all. This team's not built up enough. See, like the Bucks were built up. See, the Raiders he played with back then. He kind of got cheated out of the win, due to what happened in New England. We all know that was some bullshit, but it just wasn't. It didn't happen that day. You had a stacked team. Y'all couldn't pull it out. You had other opportunities you could have capitalized before you even got to that point. If we being here real, so that's just the fruits of your labor by not putting in the hard work. You did.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying the reason why they have to pay him is because he has all this influx of money coming his way from just talking about football. Yeah. And I mean,
I wasn't even directing that towards you though. I wasn't even really directing that towards you. I was just speaking like in general, like that's just the type of situation that could really it could have went a whole bunch of different ways. And honestly, they had this year with what they picked, they were trying to get a lot of good players, man. If they were in the top team, something like that. Like you could have had players. Like some very good players when they drafted. They hit on so many of these dudes, especially considering they could have had Minka and Ronnie Harris. They could have had a lot of guys like when you really think of like where they would pick. Like, come on, man, that would have been crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of things they could have done, but John Gruden ain't gonna get it done. I don't believe in him as a coach, and I don't believe in Derek if we been.
I will say though, if he really wanted to get paid, because I mean, that contract with the Raiders is like pretty cool and all, but he could have gone and coached like University of Tennessee, and he would have made a whole lot more money over there.
Well, fellas, here's the deal. We finna wind it down. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna have to get things prepared for the old den here shortly. The old den at 10. But I appreciate y'all, man. A very interesting conversation. Shout out to Broderick Brooks for updating the high school football knowledge. It's been a minute since I've been in it, and I definitely wasn't aware of what's been going down, but I definitely I'm going to have to keep my eyes on that at Katy North Shore action. That definitely caught my attention. That's for it to be so early in the season, because, that's a very intriguing matchup. But, man, y'all guys got anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
I just want to give a shout out to everybody. I mean, time is valuable, and for you guys to put your time in here, even if you're just like making jokes or trolling the Texans, I mean, it's still time that you're putting into us. So I take that as a win. But I always gotta say it because I have to say it, Honcho. Go watch the Dynamo. They're currently losing, but go watch the Dynamo. And then the Astros came off of a big win off of a walk-off Yabo from Tyler White. So. That's all I got.
And just appreciate everybody that comes through on a consistent basis, man. We love doing this show for everybody, man. It's good because once y'all see this shit blow up to the capabilities of where we know it's gonna get to, outside of the act of God, ain't nothing stopping us. Like, it's gonna be crazy to see what the show is gonna be covering, and it's the people that's in here that's from the ground up that make this shit so worthwhile to do, man. Because we see people that really fuck with us, and we know who y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know y'all by name.
What y'all know
y'all
about
show
North
up, y'all
Shore.
call in, y'all always here, y'all moderate, y'all doing this, y'all doing that. We just know who's real. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been here. And you know what I'm saying, and always made yourself known in all the places that we needed y'all to be supportive in, and we appreciate Sauce Nation.
Yeah, man, I love the chat, guys. I mean, keep it wild as hell. You keep everything grounded. No, nobody ever takes themselves too serious. Y'all are the most well-rounded fan base that's growing largely every day. Trust me, man. We see it. We know we're growing. We know y'all are the cause of the growth. So, man, I love it. And don't forget on them Friday night lights that dun 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 dun.
Yeah, already, man. So I want to say thank y'all to the round table. I want to say thank y'all to everybody who came through in the chat, man. But y'all got to understand, man, like, yeah, this is something we do. But in reality, it's about bringing y'all a platform, something different, something for y'all. Because yeah, you got a lot of the old guards, you got a lot of old stuff, and I ain't even finna hate. I ain't gonna worry about that no more because we in a different lane. And what it is that we are trying to. You know what I mean? Y'all got me. I'm about to tell you the white straight. But, like I say, man, it's about providing y'all a lane, man, and providing y'all a platform where you get to express your thoughts, where it's truly interactive, where you really get to express your opinions, man, because, you ain't got to sit here and wait, for an hour to get called in and get picked up. If you got thoughts that you want to address it, we make sure we get to it and address it, man. Like I say, and as this progresses, as the season comes, and, it's going to be a lot more going on. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We can't give it to you all at once because if we did, it would spoil some of the fun. But make sure you stay tuned, man. Make sure you share the sauce with your friends and family. Share the sauce with other Texan supporters. Make sure you slide by StaySaucy.com. Go get some of that fresh Sauce Sports merch. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting. If you want the the limited edition, like, again, it's only like 2 more days that's going to be available. Then we'll start pushing that at the end of the month, and then whoever wins all the sauce at the end of the month this month will get one. So, man, make sure that you cop one of those, man. Like I said, I appreciate everybody who has been supporting the sauce, all the sauce support. You know what I'm saying? It's better than child support. It ain't mandatory. It's voluntary. Child support, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. But again, I appreciate every one of y'all, man. I appreciate the round table for taking the time out. And again, man, hey, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. I don't care what the motherfuckers say about y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, I appreciate y'all. Like Hector said, it's the time, man. The time is that one asset that you can never get back. But y'all stay saucy, and we out.